Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us Across the Fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. Some things are part of the natural aging process. For example, our bones, muscles, and joints can get smaller or lose strength as we age. On the other hand, some things are not part of normal aging. As we'll focus on today, falls are not normal. In fact, you may have heard the expression that leaves are supposed to fall, but not people. So today we'll learn about preventing falls and ways to improve our balance. I'm joined by Kathy Shearer. Kathy is a physical therapist with the University of Vermont Medical Center. She is also part of a statewide coalition called Falls Free Vermont. Thanks for coming in. So should
Thanks for having me.
I be worried about falling?
Yes.
Yeah. We all should.
We all should be, yes. The Falls Free Vermont Coalition is worried about you falling. That's an organization it's a coalition of public and private organizations whose mission is to reduce preventable falls and fall-related injuries in older adults. 300,000 people break their hips falling each year.
Wow.
And so that is a number that that's not just in Vermont, that's nationwide.
Right.
And so that's a number that the Falls Free Coalition is working to try and reduce. With falling, it's not, like you mentioned, it's not an inevitable part of aging, but your risk factors do increase.
Right, right. As I often say to my husband, no falling, no falling.
No falling, no falling.
So how does exercise help prevent falling?
What exercise does is it actually moves your muscles and joints. Your muscles can get stronger as you age. You do lose muscle strength as you age, but you can change that by doing a little bit of strength training. Also, we say to people, motion is lotion. You need to keep moving. Right. Because the more sedentary you become, the higher risk for falling you are, because you're not practicing those basic skills of getting up and moving around and using your muscles and stretching your joints.
Right. So even if we do fall, we're even better. We can grab onto something, or if we keep ourselves in shape.
Falling does happen.
Yeah.
Mitch McConnell just fell and broke his shoulder.
Right.
Ruth Bader Ginsburg fell and broke some ribs. I fell hiking this summer.
Oh.
But it's a learning opportunity. When I fell hiking, I didn't have adequate shoes on and I was rushing. So now, the next hike that I went on, because I have been back out hiking, I had better shoes, I took my time.
Right, brilliant. So, and some people talk about medicines that we might take to prevent falls or help us with falls.
Yeah, that would be nice if there was one medicine you could take that would prevent falling, but you can't, because falls are multifactorial. They come from a variety of reasons. It's about your balance, it's about the surface that you're walking on, and it's about your strength. So all of those factors combine, and you need to think about all of them. That said, there are medications that do increase your risk of falling, certain cardiovascular medications or sedatives, and I wouldn't want you to take yourself off the medication being concerned about it, but if you have a concern, it is definitely something to talk to your doctor about.
Right. And you want to keep your bones, exercise keeps your bones stronger.
Exercise keeps your bones strong.
So, because you don't want them to break if you fall.
Right, right. And so the thing that you can change is your muscles, and so when your muscles pull on your bones, it helps make them stronger and prevent some loss of bone density.
Okay.
So even for people with osteoporosis, weight-bearing exercises where they have a little bit of resistance are really good to do.
Fantastic. So, some people might ask, how safe is it for people to exercise? We're going to look at some people who are exercising.
Yes, this is the enhanced fitness class at the aquatics physical therapy department of the University of Vermont Medical Center. This class meets 3 times a week. It's also co-sponsored by the Greater Burlington Y. Exercise should include 4 components: endurance, balance, strength, and flexibility, and this class includes a little bit of all of them. It's a great group. There's about 15 people. It meets twice a day. But this is just one example of community-based exercise classes. There are so many around. There's Tai Chi classes, there's silver sneakers, there's bone builders. Different private gyms have classes specifically for older adults, and I would say do it.
So how much exercise should people do, though? Should they go all 3 days a week? Should they do 5 days a week? Should they do 1? What?
I wouldn't recommend. The CDC recommends you do 150 minutes a week.
Ah, okay.
Which sounds like a lot. I wouldn't recommend you do it all in a day.
Right.
Then you're what we call a weekend warrior. But instead, try and space that out. If you did 30 minutes 5 days a week,
yeah,
that's very manageable to do. They used to talk about a minimum amount of exercise, and really the research is coming out that you just need to be doing something. Every little bit counts.
Oh.
You're actually more at risk of falling if you don't exercise.
Right. So in this enhanced fitness class that we've been watching, they occasionally also do testing, and I'm wondering, how important is that to test or gauge yourself about kind of how you do every day?
So in the class that we have, this particular format of the class is what's called an evidence-based class. It means it's been studied, there's research that supports it, that people who do participate in this class do well and reduce their risk of falls. So we test 3 things. How many times they can go from sitting to standing in 30 seconds. We test how many times they can curl a weight in 30 seconds and how long it takes them to get up and walk. As this woman's doing here, the sit to stand. And so we check it at the beginning and the end of class, and most people improve.
Wow.
So I'd mentioned that this is an evidence-based class, and you will hear that term associated with some classes, and it just means those classes have been studied and have proven results. It doesn't mean the other classes are bad. Like I said, it's more important that you do something. It is nice for people to see their progress.
Right, absolutely. It kind of is encouraging if you see that progress right there.
Yeah.
You did the test, the beginning of class you were okay, and then you're better.
Right. And even if you're not doing a class that tests it, if you're exercising regularly, you should see improvement.
Right.
One of my favorite
test
exercises
yourself.
to tell people to do is practice going from sitting to standing. And if you have to use your hands to do it 3 or 4 times using your hands. But if you do it every day, you'll see improvement and you'll notice it gets easier.
Wow.
And if you can already do it without using your hands, try holding some weight that you have at home. And some weight could be half a gallon of milk.
Wow.
Go sitting to standing, you're adding a little bit of resistance. You can make changes at any age, and the important part is that you stick with it and you'll see results over time.
Right.
Unfortunately, it doesn't all happen overnight.
Right, it does take time. But you can really do that self-testing.
Sure.
Have a sense of what you can do. So how can I prevent falls in my home?
We did talk about modifiable factors, and there are 4 things in particular that we look at for modifying. One is the leg strength and mobility that we talked about. Be aware of changes in your vision. You should get your eyes checked every year to make sure you have a current prescription. We talked a little bit about medication interactions, but at home, also think about your home clutter. Do you have rugs that are curling up at the edges? Is there just general clutter around, shoes, pets, things that you might trip over? Just be aware and try and make those surfaces as clear as you possibly can.
What about railings?
Railings are recommended on stairs.
Right, because I know I don't, and I'm thinking it's about time we put in
a railing on the stairs. Yeah, better safe than sorry.
Yeah.
Stairs in particular, I worry about wet spots on the floor. Winter is coming. People track water in. Be aware of it. Try and have a mat by your door to absorb some of that water.
Right, or certainly the ice falls. It's so scary at the beginning of the season. Is there a best exercise to do? You've mentioned a couple of them, but do you have your favorites?
People ask me this all the time, and the answer is the best exercise is the one that you will do.
Okay.
People, when they come to me as a physical therapist and they say, I need to exercise, I hate running, I say, good news, there's a lot of other options you can do besides running. You can walk every day. If you can't walk every day, there's chair exercises that you can do. The important thing is to find one that you can do and that you will do.
Right.
You're not going to stick to one that you don't like.
Right.
Pick one that you like and that's easy to incorporate in your day. That's why I like the sit to stand. It's easy to incorporate in the day. Right. If you need a little bit of the endurance activity, sometimes I tell people when you go to the grocery store, before you start picking up your groceries, walk around the inside of the grocery store. Do a lap. That's
brilliant. Right.
It's continuous activity. You've done it. You have a cart if you need it. You don't have to be embarrassed about using a walker. You've got some support.
Right.
A balanced exercise, can you stand with your feet together? It's important when you're doing a balanced exercise to keep yourself safe. You don't want to fall doing your balanced exercise.
Right.
But put your feet together and then see if you can let your hands off the counter.
Great. Or be near a wall or something that you can hold on to, but really practice balance.
Yeah. And then if you can do it with your feet together, can you lift one foot, stand on one foot?
Yeah.
And flexibility is the 4th component, and I want to encourage you to do that. You can do it sitting in your chair, sit up straight, stretch your arms back.
Right, right. Fantastic. I started yoga a couple of years ago. I don't know how I would live without it. What about pain?
Yes. Not all pain is created equal. If you're doing, and what I mean by that is if you're doing an exercise and it's a really sharp pain, that may be an indicator that you're not doing it right, it's not the best exercise for you. You can modify it yourself, you can see a physical therapist, or if you're doing a community-based class, see the instructor, and they'll figure out a way to modify it. If it's just general aches and pains, I would encourage you to keep exercising, and maybe those will go away.
So even if you have arthritis, exercise is
exercise
good
is
for your
really
joints.
one of the best things that you can do for your joints with arthritis.
It's not bad, it's a good thing.
It's a good thing.
Are there medical conditions that are aggravated by exercise that we should have some caution around?
Typically, no. You don't want to go from 0 to 100 in your exercise, though. You want to move into it gradually. And if you have concerns about a medical condition, that's a good time to see a physical therapist or your physician and say, how can I get into this exercise program? Because it's really more important for you to exercise than not. Okay. Most of your medical conditions will be improved with exercise.
And so what should I do if I do lose my balance, if I'm feeling a little spinny? What do you recommend?
Maybe it's time to consider an assistive device. And people don't like to hear that, but I mean like a cane or a walker. There are some balance exercises you can do if you have vertigo or other inner ear dysfunction that will help improve those. It's not something that you have to live with, it's something that can get better. And that's the bottom line for most of these, is that whether it's pain or you don't have good enough endurance, you think, to exercise, it can all get better.
Pay attention and get some exercise. So where can people get more information about preventing falls?
September is Fall Prevention Month, and the Falls Free Vermont Coalition has a great website, which is listed here, and it has information about some fall screenings that we're offering, some different forms of fall prevention. And one of the best parts, I think, is it has a whole database of local exercise classes across Vermont. You can go and you type in your county, and it tells you all the programs that we're aware of across the state, and that's updated annually.
Because there's a social benefit to that.
Oh,
which
yeah,
is
it's so
fantastic.
great. Yeah, and that's what keeps people going, is to group exercise, is the social component.
Right. Well, Kathy Shearer, thank you so much for coming in, a physical therapist at UVM Medical Center. It's great to hear all this about falls, and so no falling. And thank you for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard.